recognize...
Mr. Chairman, sorry. I ask unanimous consent to enter for the record. One of our colleagues had asked if there was evidence if the so-called Maryland man, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, was MS-13. According to the Attorney General of the United States, she posted that the evidence shows Kilmar Abrego Garcia has repeatedly been identified as a member of MS-13 by a Maryland County Police Gang unit, which I introduced for the record, a reliable confidential informant, ICE officers, an immigration judge agreed, and an appellate board agreed.
Without...
So you have, is that a court order?
Objection.
Well, I object.
No, she can put anything she wants in the record. She's not complying to your request, Mr. Goldman.
She asked for unanimous consent.
Okay, so you're objecting to her putting that into the record?
I am objecting subject to a clarification. Is that a court order that establishes that he's a member of MS-13?
An immigration judge agreed that he was MS-13.
For bail purposes.
An appellate board agreed.
Don't misrepresent.
Hold on.
A judge.
Everybody pause. We're going to let one person talk at a time. You ask a question. Answer the question, please.
According to the Attorney General of the United States, she informed the country that an immigration judge agreed that your Maryland man, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, is MS-13. An appellate board agreed. ICE officers
you are misstating
agreed.
What
A reliable
Mr. Goldman,
informant.
the clock is not yours right now. She has the floor. Please continue answering the question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A Maryland County
She's not answering the question, sir.
No, she's going to answer the question, and then you can object to her answer.
Can you make sure that she answers the question?
Finish answer. You just said, please finish your answer.
A Maryland County Police Gang unit agreed that he's MS-13. A reliable confidential informant agreed that he's MS-13. ICE officers agreed that he's MS-13. An immigration judge agreed that he's MS-13. An appellate board agreed that Kilmar Abrego Garcia, your Maryland man, is MS-13.
Okay.
I object.
Have the floor. What do you want to say?
I object because she is misstating the record and the facts. That is not accurate, and therefore I object to that being introduced. There's no.
Mr.
Sir,
Chairman?
can I explain? You let her go on.
Go ahead.
There is no final court order establishing that he's a member. Maybe he is. So you should put all that evidence before a judge, and if he is MS-13, he should be deported. That's what we're talking about, but you're misstating what all of that evidence is.
No, I think I'm going to make a point here. You basically just read what the Attorney General said, correct?
Yes, sir.
You didn't assert that this was a court order, did you? Did you assert that this was a court order?
I read the Attorney General of the United States.
And you have a right on our committee to submit for unanimous consent or a vote if we want to put it to a vote. This for the record, correct? Is that it?
Yes.
That is correct. Okay,
Mr. Chairman,
she has a right.
Can I review what she is submitting?
No, she can submit something to this committee.
But it matters that she just said she represented exactly what the Attorney General said. She has a document there. I would like to see that document.
Let's make a copy for everybody.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Okay, so as you can see from that intro, yeah, Democrats, they're just losing their mind over this one. Oh my God, he was mistakenly deported. We've got a fascist, authoritarian government over here. Like, they just can't get it through their thick skulls. This guy was an MS-13 gang member. They're just denying that outright. And you love how he says,
and if he is MS-13, he should be deported.
My guy, he's already deported. He's never coming back. Get that through your freaking skull. But Democrats, once again, they are insane. Once they think they have a sticking point that they can win on, yeah, they don't care if they get behind criminals. They get behind the most scummiest people in the freaking world. They are going to stand up for those people and absolutely destroy themselves. It's fascinating to watch the Democratic Party absolutely crumble underneath their own moral values, if you will, if you even want to call it that. It's more like derangement in my estimation, but it is what it is. That is what we're dealing with. And, you know, I levy a pretty heavy claim at Democrats calling them insane, but, you know, I do love to bring the receipts, folks. I love to bring the receipts. And here's some more evidence for the record, if you will. Let's go ahead and enter this right quick. Check this out. Texas Democrats look to ban well-known curse Ted Cruz from sporting events. Now, you gotta love that. They're trying to ban Ted Cruz from sporting events. I think that's all that needs to be said right there. But we have an entire news article to read out on this very issue. That is right. Now, when I'm reading this, I'm like, is this a freaking joke? Like, and I read 3 articles before I came across the Daily Beast who were definitely trying to frame this as satirical. Like, oh, well, they're just joking around. However, they didn't count on me reading other news articles from serious and more reputable news outlets that actually frame this as, pretty much what Democrats are actually thinking. And this is just blatantly insane. Y'all, check this out. Let's get into this because once again, it's fascinating, and it's funny, but it does show where the Democratic Party currently is, where they reside in their own feces, if you will. The chairs of the Democratic Party in Harris County, Texas, are proposing a resolution to ban U.S. Senator Ted Cruz from sporting events involving in-state college teams, calling him a well-known curse. In a trend that goes back several years, the powerful Republican has shown an amazing ability to show up for games in which Texas teams lose, as Charles Kuffner, who co-chairs the Harris County Democratic Party, along with Bill Kelly, notes in a post on his website. Cruz has been present for several Lone Star State sports catastrophes, including Houston's loss to Florida in the NCAA men's basketball tournament championship game in April, Texas's loss to Washington in the 2024 college football playoff semifinal, Texas Tech's loss to Virginia in the 2019 NCAA tournament championship game, 9 football games involving Texas, Baylor, and Texas A&M in which the team's combined record is 1-8. The 9 scariest words for any college fan to hear are, "I'm Ted Cruz, and I'm coming to your game," said Kelly, a University of Houston alum. Now, does that sound like it really does sound satirical? However, they are seriously going to enter this for committee to overlook, I guess they're going to weigh the constitutionality of this or something like that. But it's very, very fascinating, and it just goes to show the derangement of Democrats in this country. Do you really think that you're going to have the ability to ban a U.S. senator or anybody from going to different areas, right? Well, this is supposed to be just for the Houston area, but going to a college game because he's a bad luck charm? Are you freaking kidding me? Like, these people just don't realize how silly that they actually look. And they look very silly right now. They're in utter disarray. They can't get anything together. You got Pete Buttigieg over here talking about, oh, well, we didn't cover anything up about Biden. We all missed the mark on Joe Biden. Seriously, that's what Buttigieg was basically getting at. That wasn't a verbatim quote. Just kind of a roundabout estimation of what he said when I read a news article earlier talking about this, but I wasn't going to cover that because that was utter nonsense, or at least I thought it was utter nonsense at the time until I continued down and read this news article, and I'm like, oh, this is just great. This just goes to show. And then combine that with the circus that we saw at the intro of this video, and you're like, yeah, I think the Democratic Party has some issues. They're deranged with Donald Trump. They don't have a leader at all. They can't seem to get themselves together. They don't know what to do. They don't realize that they're absolutely destroying themselves on the global stage or on the national stage, if you will. But it's just fascinating. And then you've got, small sects of Democrats over here thinking they can ban U.S. senators from college games. It's fascinating. Republicans, Democrats, and independents Hell, even fans from Lubbock to Houston can all agree that when your college team is playing, Ted Cruz is the absolute last person you want to see. We can't ignore it anymore. We've got some great teams who could win it all, if not for the Cruz curse. Despite our differences, we can all join together in calling for Ted Cruz to find something else to do when our teams are playing. Added Kuffner, a Rice graduate. Just check the math. The dude is poison. According to the website, the resolution has been submitted to the County Resolutions Committee for the Harris County Democratic Party for review. It would have to be approved by the Resolutions Committee before it could be introduced on the floor of the Texas legislature. Wow, folks, are these people actually serious? I could see, trying to put this out as a meme or something like that, right? Like, make some memes, but they are actually submitting this to the Resolutions Committee so it can be submitted to the state legislature to actually be considered to be passed as law. Fascinating. This is what Democrats are worried about, folks. And I talk about this nonsense all the freaking time. Democrats don't seem to be worried about the issues at hand. They only seem to worry about virtue signaling and telling you how much of a bad person you are, especially if you're white these days. And the demented way they go about conducting themselves on the national stage just always blows my freaking mind. They can't handle the truth. They really, really can't. Just go back to the Kilmar Abrego Garcia stuff, right? They're just utterly denying the facts here. They're constantly lying, framing these stories in such a light that, it's basically an outright lie, right? All trying to deny he's MS-13 because it hasn't been adjudicated specifically that he's MS-13. Right? You've got all this evidence that points in that direction. But that's not good enough for these people because it goes against their narrative, folks. We've got Trump over a barrel because he mistakenly deported. No, he didn't mistakenly deport anybody. There was an administrative error because they did not conduct an interview with this guy, right? Like, I read this news article earlier, and they were going back and forth. The Trump administration has invoked state secrets, and Judge Polizinis, in that case, who is presiding over that case, is pissed off about that. We want to know what the administration has done to get this guy back. And the guy basically said, he's not coming back. We're not doing a damn thing because they're not going to release Abrego Garcia. Right? Now, to resolve this issue, all they would simply have to do is get him on a Zoom call and conduct that CIS interview. And then there goes the Democrat narrative on this. Then there's no more administrative error. This guy was going to be deported anyway. Right? Like that congressman said earlier.
You go ahead.
There is no final court order.
Which he lied about because, yes, he did have an order of deportation. It was just not to El Salvador specifically. So where do you take the guy? But hang on just a second, because the situation in El Salvador has changed ever since then, right? So the CIS interview would have superseded that hold of deportation. Yes, as a matter of fact, you go look at all this stuff up if you guys don't believe me. I know some of you guys out there don't believe me, but you can go look it up. It's absolutely correct. The administration did not mistakenly deport this guy, and the Democrats just can't get it out of their head that this guy was going to be deported anyway. He's not a Maryland man, for one. He's not just some sheet metal worker, as the corporate press loves to drum it up, right? He was clearly, well, not clearly, but allegedly smuggling people all over the country, criminal aliens, as a matter of fact, a human smuggler. That was alleged evidence to show that, right? Not much evidence, but it's still evidence nevertheless. But they're just in utter disarray right now. And like I always say on these videos, it's because every time they hear Donald Trump, what do? They throw up all over themselves, take a dump on the floor, jump in it, roll around in it for a second, and get back up. And they're like, what just happened? They black out. They don't even know. They bash their faces against the wall constantly anytime Trump is mentioned because they're so deranged with Donald Trump that they can't help themselves but go against everything that Donald Trump does. It's like that meme. Donald Trump should come out in support of his own impeachment so Democrats will fight against impeaching Donald Trump. It's crazy, and it surprised me the other day. I came across this news article. That guy that wrote up articles of impeachment for Donald Trump, as a matter of fact, was laughed at by other Democrats. Like, you're insane. Actual, I guess, sane Democrats laughed at this guy. And that was an actual news article. Democrats, I just don't know what we're doing with these. This used to be a party of integrity. It used to be a distinguished party that actually were taken seriously. But over the past 10 years, ever since Trump came into the light, into the politics or whatever, they have just been ripping themselves apart. And that is very apparent by today's iteration of Democrats in Congress, in the Senate, pretty much everywhere, right? There are some examples that I could point to where you got sane Democrats. Look at Ro Khanna. There's a few of them out there, right? You got a few Senate Democrats that are actually kind of sane, that they don't want none of that nonsense. They're not in the cult. They just don't like Republican policies, blah, 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 blah. And a lot of them have gone independent as of recent, right? Because they don't want to be attached to insanity, which is what the Democratic Party has essentially become. But I think I'm rambling on at this point, so I want y'all to let me know what y'all think about all of this down in the comment section. Y'all do me a big favor and smash that like button for me. I really would appreciate it if you guys could do that for me. And hey, look, if you like this video and you think I deserve it, smash that subscribe button for me. I would greatly appreciate that, because we need to push back against these lies, these manipulations of the corporate press and the narrative they try to portray on everybody. And the best way to do that is look right below the video and click that join button. That is probably the best way, honestly, to help me out and help get the message out there that you are being manipulated. You are being lied to by the quote-unquote truth bringers, the fact givers of this country, the corporate press, the media, the news, whatever you want to call it, mainstream narrative machine, as I usually call it, right? Because that's what they are. Right? And we need new media, people that actually have some integrity, that are actually going to tell you the truth, good, bad, or ugly. It doesn't matter. Sure, Trump made a mistake. Oops. Sure, Trump is doing some things that are kind of dipping off into authoritarianism, but just barely dipping off into it. Like, not unlike the Biden administration, the previous Trump administration, Obama administration. All administrations have dipped off into authoritarianism, as a matter of fact. But at least I can get out there and say that. Can these other Democrats, would they speak badly about Biden when he was in office? Yeah, I think not. As a matter of fact, they went to great lengths to cover that up. To cover up Joe Biden's mental decline, as a matter of fact, by calling reality fake news or cheap fakes or whatever the hell they wanted to call it. And we need to fight against that. So y'all click that join button, sign up, become a member. I would be elated. I would be over the moon if you guys would sign up and become members. That would be lovely. But I'm going on and on about that. So y'all let me know what y'all think about this. And y'all try to have a good day. Stay legitical. Peace.